Today I will be showing you guys my salmon and white wine sauce. So you're gonna start off by cutting, cleaning, and peeling some potatoes. You could do Idaho or russet. We're gonna be making some mashed potatoes. So go ahead and get them all clean and chopped up. I cut mine in these cubes because I feel like it makes them cook more evenly. And for my salmon, I get wild caught salmon with the skin, and I'm gonna show you guys kind of how I learned how to get the skin off in just kind of one go. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you can look him up. His name is Too Cool Chef. I watched his video like 500 times on how to just get that knife under there and clean cut. And before you know it, all the skin is off, and it's just so much easier. You're not wasting a bunch of salmon. So I kind of get like a little flap there where I can get between the skin and the fish. Once you're able to grip it with your finger, just scrape that knife against the bottom. This is a wider piece, so I kind of just wiggle the knife a little bit. Keep it against the skin and not the fish, and just keep pulling that skin, and it's going to slowly but surely separate. We're going to go ahead and slice these pieces until how we want to cook them. So I just took each piece and I made them into 3 pieces. So it only required me to cut it twice. And we're also going to let this marinate. So I went ahead and I added, I think I did either Tony's or Lawry seasoning. I did the Garlic Lovers garlic powder, I think it's garlic and herb actually. And I did some black pepper and of course some paprika. Make sure you season both sides generously. Once you've done that, you're gonna kind of let these marinate, put it to the side, and start on your potatoes. I season my water in addition to the mashed potatoes, so I do a little chicken bouillon, some black pepper, and a little bit of Lawry's or Tony's, and go ahead and add those potatoes in there. Potatoes take a little while to kind of cook, so you just want to make sure that you're boiling them until you're able to stick a fork through. So they may go for about 20-30 minutes depending on how high you have your temperature. While the potatoes are cooking, we're going to go ahead and start on our salmon. Get you a skillet, oil to the bottom of the pan, add a little bit of butter. I think the butter is what gives it the crunch, but hey. Get the pan nice and hot, and you're going to add in your fish. And you know me, when I'm cooking, I do not like to mess with my food a whole bunch. So once that fish is in there, let it cook. You don't need to flip it a million times. Let it cook for a few minutes on that side, and then once you've done that, you're going to flip it over and let it cook on the other side. Once that's cooked for a few minutes, you're going to go ahead and give it that good flip and let it finish doing its thing. Leave a little bit of space in between the fish so that it can evenly cook and it's not stealing heat from another piece. And make sure your pot is centered in the middle of the fire, especially if you're using a wide skillet like this. Once I gave it its few minutes on each side, I flip it over to be sure that the outside has a nice color, and go ahead and remove it. On to our white wine sauce. You're going to take some butter, you're going to melt it in the bottom of a pan, and you're going to add in some minced garlic. Once the garlic is fragrant, you're going to go behind with some white wine. I used a 2-buck chuck from Trader Joe's, Charles Shaw. I think I did like a Chardonnay. You could use whatever you like, personal preference here. You do want to make sure that you simmer all of that alcohol out. If you don't, you will take a bite of this sauce and be drunk. Trust me, it's happened. Once you've kind of let that simmer down, you're going to add in some heavy whipping cream. And the best way, honestly, that I could describe this is kind of like you're going to follow the steps as if you were making an Alfredo. So once you get all that butter and that garlic with the wine mixed in really good, you're going to season it. I did Tony's, garlic powder, and black pepper. Mix that in and let it simmer, and we're gonna wait this one out and let it get thick. You don't have to cook this at a high heat. I promise you it will get thick. Give it time. Occasionally, more times than none, come around and stir it up so that the cream doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. Once it starts to get thick, you're going to add in that cheese. Make sure it's completely melted before turning off the fire. You don't want just one big chunk of cheese somewhere in the sauce. So this is when I kind of stir it a little bit more and just make sure that all that cheese is melted and it's not stuck to the bottom or in just one spot. You either let that completely simmer till it stick to your liking and move on to the next thing. So I moved on to the potatoes. I did the fork check. So now we're going to bring it all together. I added some butter and I put some, you could either do milk or heavy cream. I only had heavy cream, so I put a little heavy cream in there. I did some Lawry's, some garlic powder, and some black pepper, and we're gonna mash this out. You could whip this if you want more whipped, and I would say just add more butter or cream. I'm not a huge whipped person with mashed potatoes. I kind of like it to have a little more, I don't know. I like it to be thick. You might have to add a little more cream, add a little butter, do a taste test, make sure that you like how it tastes and like the consistency, and you can always mess with it. Nothing is going to come out perfect every single time, so it's okay if you have to add more on later on. Put those potatoes to the side, and last but not least, I'm going to do the asparagus because that doesn't take that much longer. So add you some oil to the bottom of a skillet. I like to add some butter, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in some clean and trimmed asparagus. You don't want to cook this on too high of a heat either because it will burn, and I don't like mine too soft, but I also don't like mine too hard. So this is also something that I kind of let take its time. You're going to season it with some Lawry's garlic powder and black pepper. Once I get that seasonings coated, I go ahead and I add garlic because I hate the taste of burnt garlic. So I do add it a little, I guess some people will say late. Get the garlic mixed in, and you're just going to kind of let this saute itself out. You will notice that the color will start to get more green. As it cooks, just keep the temperature at a medium low heat and just let it do its thing. For added flavor, you can add a little bit of lemon juice, and I know some people that add like Parmesan cheese. That is a great addition to, but that doesn't go with my meal today, so I'm not going to add it. Also, you want to flip them around a little bit because they are round, so you want to make sure that they're cooked all the way through. And be gentle. Don't smash it with the fork or the spoon, whatever you're deciding to use it. Some people use tongs when they're doing this because they don't want to smash it. And for plating, I went ahead and I did mashed potatoes first. Took a couple asparagus and I topped the mashed potatoes. Get you a slice of fish and put that on top of the asparagus. And this is when we're gonna take our sauce and we're gonna pour it right over the top. And this is just to be pretty. You can plate it however you like. And to make it extra pretty, go ahead and sprinkle you some parsley on there. This recipe turned out really well. This was a fan favorite. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more recipes like this.